Hi, I'm Eileen, the Mellow Astrologer, and I help you understand yourself better using astrology. Now, I know so many folks who come to me are astrologically enthusiastic. I call you astro enthusiasts, and it's wonderful. But astrology is a complex and nuanced art and science, right? So, how do we use this huge body of knowledge in our daily lives without having to become an expert or a professional like me, right? So that's what I aim to do with most of my videos, but especially this one, where I'm trying to distill a very complex idea into something that you can walk away with and use in your daily life. Now, it's Pisces season, so what better to talk about than the fish? I love me some Pisces energy. It's one of my favorite archetypes. And I want you to understand through this video that even if you are not a Pisces, that the Pisces archetype is alive and well in your horoscope. Now, each of us is expressing the archetypes differently because obviously we're all independently a unique expression of the divine and life generally, right? So that's what we're going to explore in this video today. Now, specifically, if you're an astrological enthusiast, this video is for you. If you're a student of astrology, this video is for you. If you dislike Piscean people, this video is for you. And if you don't think you have Pisces in your chart, you definitely need to keep watching. And if your intimate others is a Pisces, then this is totally for you. What I mean by intimate others here is a best friend, a lover, a parent, a child, etc. Somebody who you are intimately connected to. It's not your colleague or um, somebody that you have looser interactions with. And finally, if you want to understand yourself and others better, then this video is definitely for you. And what we're going to be covering today is discerning whether or not you're a Piscean person. We'll talk about the big three briefly, the archetypal units. I will give you some chart examples, and I will conclude with, so you'll definitely want to stay till the end. I will conclude with the Pisces mantra and the karmic intention of the sign of Pisces. And again, everybody has the sign of Pisces and the Pisces archetype in their chart, whether or not they are a Pisces. So that applies to you as well, my friend. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. So when we're talking about the big three, you know you're a Piscean person if one of your big three falls in the sign of Pisces. Here you're going to see the glyph for Pisces. So the big three, these are the fundamentals of your astrology, of anybody's astrology. The big three include the sun, the moon, and the ascendant, which is also called the rising sign. Okay, so if one of your big three is in the sign of Pisces, we already know that you're a Piscean person. Okay, now there are other ways to determine Pisces energy in your chart, and that's through the archetypes, the archetypal units. I keep using this phrase. What does that mean? What am I talking about, right? So all 12 astrological signs can be thought of as archetypes or universally experienced symbols and motifs. Now, the term archetype was coined by Jung in the 20th century, the psychologist Jung, and understand that evolutionary astrology, the type of astrology that I practice, is based off of a psycho-spiritual approach to the interpretation of astrology. So psychology is a big part of evolutionary astrology. So it's not surprising then that the term archetype would be used so frequently by an evolutionary astrologer, okay? So each sign reflects a different aspect of our lives so that together all of life is represented or reflected back to us in the astrology. What is an archetypal unit then? An archetypal unit is comprised of a sign, the house that sign represents, and the planetary ruler of that sign. So each sign is associated with a house of the horoscope, and there's 12 houses and there's 12 signs. So if it's the fourth sign, Cancer, we're talking about the fourth house. If we're talking about the sixth sign, Virgo, then we're talking about the sixth house and so forth. So each archetype, each sign is part of an archetypal unit, and the archetypal unit, again, is the sign, the house of the horoscope it's associated with, and the planetary ruler of that sign. So we're talking about Pisces. So what is the archetypal unit for the sign of Pisces? The 12th house and Neptune. Its planetary ruler is Neptune. Of course, it's the 12th house because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Okay, so let's talk about a few chart examples so that you can really see, am I a Piscean person? Now, I want you to pull out your chart. If you have to pause the video for a second, go ahead and do that. But I want you looking at your horoscope now, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is determine if there's something in the 12th house of your horoscope. The 12th house, of course, being the Pisces house generally, okay? Because this is part of the archetypal unit for Pisces. There are so many nuances to astrology that I can't possibly explain in a shorter video like this. And I do teach courses. So if you're interested in learning more, definitely go to my website. I'll also drop some links in the description. But here in this video, we're going to be doing the basics and only talking about basics. So I hope that you do have questions. I hope that this video leaves things unanswered because we're just skimming the surface here, right? I'm trying to distill something very complex into a bite-sized chunk for you. So now that you have your horoscope, I want you to look to see if there's anything happening in the 12th house. Now you can see that the 12th house in this chart, you'll see not only the number 12, so that you know it's the 12th house, but also I have only one planet here in this horoscope so as not to confuse you, so that you can really hone in on the 12th house. This is my business partner's chart, and she has her sun in the sign of Cancer in the 12th house. So she's not a Pisces, but I'm considering her a Piscean person because one of her big three, again, that's the sun or the moon or the rising sign, but the rising sign is always in the same place, so it doesn't change. But if the sun or the moon fall in the 12th house, I'm going to consider you a Piscean person. These are fundamental aspects of your personality. Here's my chart. That's the symbol or the glyph for the North Node. And the North Node is a point, it's a mathematical calculation, it is not a planet. However, in evolutionary astrology, the North Node is also sometimes called the destiny point, but the North Node or destiny point is what your soul, it's the energy that your soul is evolving into in this lifetime. It's extremely important. It's one of the first things that I look at when viewing a person's astrology, their horoscope. So somebody who has their North Node or correspondingly the South Node in the 12th house is going to be a very Piscean person because they're learning about what does it mean, like that North Node is learning about the sign that it's in and the house that it's in, okay? So if you have your sun, your moon, your North Node, your South Node, Pluto or Neptune in the 12th house, I'm going to consider you just bam, out the gate, you're a Piscean person. Okay, why Neptune? Because Neptune is the ruling planet of Pisces. It's part of this archetypal unit. Okay, so if Neptune is in the 12th house, that's where Neptune wants to be. He rules that house. Okay, and why Pluto? That's because in evolutionary astrology, Pluto represents the soul. And that's what evolutionary astrology is looking at, is your soul's evolution through lifetimes. So I'm pulling up a horoscope. I'm looking at where's your sun, where's your moon, where's your Pluto, where's your North Node. These are the most important things in evolutionary astrology, okay? So this is why if any of those planets or points fall in the 12th house, you therefore are a Piscean person. So moving on, we've already determined what do you got going on in the 12th house. Now I want you to look at which house of your personal horoscope is ruled by the sign of Pisces. Whoa, what does that mean? I could do an entire lesson just about the house rulerships. That's a little bit more complex. We want to keep it simple. So for right now, I just want you to find where is the glyph Pisces in your chart. Okay, so in this horoscope that we see here, I've taken out all the planets and points to keep it really simple. And right there at the 6th house, we see the glyph for Pisces. Okay, so on the 6th house, what we call the cusp, that line in between the houses, is the symbol for Pisces. So Pisces rules this person's 6th house. Okay, so determine which house of your horoscope Pisces rules. Then we're going to move on to look at, do you have any planets in the sign of Pisces? So for this person here, this is a good friend of mine. He's got a whopping 5 planets in the sign of Pisces, and they are all in the 4th house. So for him, Pisces rules the 4th house. Okay. And then he has this number of planets in the sign of Pisces. That's obviously a lot. So maybe this wasn't the best example ever because he's clearly a very Piscean person, because we're looking essentially at 12 planets or points. He's got 5 of them already in Pisces. So we know, wowza, that's a lot of Pisces energy. Okay. Next, I want you to look at the planet Neptune. This is actually Lady Gaga's chart. And I've obviously eliminated almost all the planets and points. What we see here is her sun and the planet Neptune. So if you do have an app on your phone, or if you have been studying longer and you understand net aspects, then I'm going to want you to look at, do you have any aspects between your Pisces planets or the planet Neptune? And so here Lady Gaga has a square. You can see that little red square in the center of the chart. She's got a square between her sun, which is one of her big 3, and the planet Neptune. So she's going to be a Piscean person. Now, her sun is not in the sign of Pisces, and Neptune is not in the sign of Pisces. I don't care. She's got her sun in a very tight aspect to the planet that rules the sign of Pisces. She's a Piscean person. I would probably more accurately say she's a Neptunian person. But when you hear Neptune, you should also be thinking Pisces. Why? Because Neptune is the planet that rules the sign of Pisces. Okay, so this is how we would determine, this is how you're going to determine for yourself if you're a Piscean person. Now let's talk about the Pisces mantra. It is, I trust. Pisces is here to learn, in part. We have 12 signs. All 12 signs represent all of life. Okay, so again, extremely complex and nuanced, and I'm distilling this into one itty bitty tiny little thing. And to my way of thinking, and to a lot of astrologers, the most important thing that Pisces energy is learning about is trust. It's learning to surrender. And it's, what is it learning to trust and surrender to? Life, generally, divine, more specifically, source, God, whatever word you want to use. But Pisces and those who have strong Piscean energy are really getting an important lesson in this lifetime about trusting and surrendering, both to the natural flow of life and then to divine. I could talk about this all day. I'm not going to go into it in more depth than that because it's just too much. But I want you to understand that if you or somebody you know is a strongly Piscean person, one of the things that you're learning about strongly, you're going to be getting lesson after lesson after lesson that assists you in learning how to trust in life and how to surrender to life and to God. Again, you can substitute that word with one that's more palatable to you if you dislike God, nature, even. Okay, so that's the mantra. We all have Pisces in our chart somewhere. So even if you don't have planets in Pisces, or your 12th house isn't inhabited, or the house in your horoscope that's ruled by Pisces, even if there's nothing going on there, you know that at intervals in your life, you're still going to be getting Piscean lessons. But for those of us like myself or my business partner or the chart examples that we saw here, if you are considered a Piscean person, learning to trust and to surrender is going to be an ongoing and important theme in your life. Therefore, I want you to have this mantra front and center in your mind as you move through life. I trust. And what does this mean to you? As a spiritual inquiry for yourself, you can ask, what does it mean to trust? What does it mean for me to surrender to life, to surrender to the divine? Okay. Ruminate on those themes, on those inquiries. Now, let's move to the karmic intention of Pisces. Again, I'm going to reiterate that I am taking a very complex art and science and I'm distilling it. Right? So you should have a bone to pick with me if you know much about astrology. You should be thinking, but hey, what about this and what about that? Because again, this is just one little element of the Piscean archetype, but to me, it's the most important. And that is the karmic intention for a Pisces person, a strongly Piscean individual, You're learning how to trust life and to heal oneself and others, especially through relationship with Source. So you're here to learn how to heal yourself, and you're also going to be assisting others in their healing process. And the way in which you do that is through your relationship with Source. So if you are in service to others, including animals, if you're in the healing arts in any way, and you do not currently have a spiritual practice or a strong relationship with divine, I encourage you to immediately begin cultivating one. Why? Because your ability to express your life purpose, to express your soul's evolutionary intentions, to come into alignment with your soul's evolutionary intentions, will in part hinge on your relationship to divine. It is of the utmost importance, okay? Your ability to trust and surrender, your ability to heal yourself and others is founded on your relationship with divine. Okay, so I hope this helps you understand the Piscean archetype better. We are in Pisces season, so I thought what a lovely thing to discuss. I do offer courses on, or a course on the big three, and I'm developing another course right now. So if you are interested in learning more, please go to my website, where you can also sign up for my weekly astrological forecast, which I send religiously every Wednesday morning at 4:30 a.m. And it is a forecast plus spiritual inquiry and spiritual exploration of the various zodiac signs, of course. I also have a freebie that I would like to encourage you to sign up for, which is a Mercury retrograde survival guide. Who doesn't need that? Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. We all need it. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you liked this video, and definitely comment below. I love talking about astrology, obviously. So I want to know, are you a Piscean person? And if you think you are, how do you know that you are? And if you don't think you are, why not? All right, my friend, I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Ciao, ciao.